from the street, 919fm.com. Here's what's happening.
Good afternoon. I am Vanessa Thomas with the 12 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, sponsored by the Sea Champion. In the headlines, the National Trade Union Center says, pay port workers or else. The Met Office warns of a passage of a tropical wave and Saharan dust surge. Tobago records its third murder for 2020. And internationally, European ambassadors to reopen external borders but plan on barring Americans from its travel list. And now the news in detail. General Secretary of the National Trade Union Center, Michael Anisette, says if the government does not make good on its agreement with port workers, then the workers may be forced to shut down the ports. Anisette, who led a protest outside the port of Port of Spain yesterday, said the issue was over the 2014-2017 salary agreement. The union signed a 12% increase for the 3-year period for some 1,700 workers, which Anisette said will cost the state approximately $100 million. For the lack of respect, Anisette said, enough is enough and they must take a stand. Meanwhile, the Minister of Works and Transport, Mr. Rohan Sinanan, this morning said he has secured a meeting with the Finance Minister, Mr. Colm Imbert, for next Tuesday. He is pleading for patience with port workers. However, Mr. Anisette said this is unacceptable and port disruptions will continue. And the Trinidad and Tobago Inter-Island Company is advising the public that sailings on the Galleon's passage to and from Port of Spain and Scarborough have been cancelled. This comes one day after workers downed tools at the port of Port of Spain in protest of a number of outstanding issues. Hundreds of passengers were left stranded on Tuesday as the sailings of the vessels were delayed for several hours. In other news, a tropical wave is expected to pass over Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow. The TNT Met Service, in a recent update, said the tropical wave is currently moving westwards of the island. Meanwhile, citizens are once again being warned to brace for a new surge of Saharan dust in moderate to high concentration at the end of the week. The Met Office advises that the next wave is expected to begin affecting the Twin Island from Friday. It says the unhealthy dust concentration is forecast to last until at least Sunday. Unusually sensitive persons are advised to take the necessary precautions to protect themselves. In news of crime, one man was shot dead this morning in Tobago. He has been identified as Dwight Turpin. The incident is said to have occurred in Mount Hay, Black Rock. Investigations are continuing. Finally, on the international scene, European ambassadors are expected to meet today to plan reopening external borders on July 1st. A number of European countries are keen to open up to tourists, but others are wary of the continued spread of the deadly coronavirus. The virus is spreading in the U.S., so it is likely Americans would be barred. The 27-member bloc must first agree to the measures that non-EU countries should meet before deciding on a safe list. Brazil, Russia, Peru, Panama, Saudi Arabia, and other countries with high infection rates would also be left off a safe list. And that was the 12 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, sponsored by the Sea Champion. As we go recapping the headlines. The National Trade Union Center says, pay port workers or else. Inter-island sailings cancelled. Tobago records its third murder for 2020. And internationally, European ambassadors meet today to reopen external borders, but plan on barring Americans from its travel list. Stay tuned for sport news with Jason Shields at 1 p.m. My name is Vanessa Thomas. Do enjoy your afternoon.
Welcome to